All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for some real people out there just like you, just like me. All right, Jason Aldean is in big trouble. He's in big trouble. I'm going to be talking about how Jason Aldean's video is shocking the world, blowing up the internet. All right, before I get there, country theme here, The Wilder Blue. Check these guys out. The reason I promote them is because this is real country music for real country type people and some contemporary sounding stuff on here as well. Very impressive. If you like the desperado, on the border, Eagles period, I think you'll like The Wilder Blue. And there's a Fleetwood Mac type song on here as well. So The Wilder Blue, putting out great music, and people probably don't know that much about them. People do know a lot about Jason Aldean. Before I talk about what Jason Aldean has done to the world, all right, he has really stepped in it this time. Don't forget about Modern Retro Radio. ModernRetroFM.com. It's the place where you'll hear music that everybody else is afraid to play. I think maybe I can convince them to play the new Jason Aldean song. Jason Aldean is technically like modern country rock. All right? He's currently on his Highway Desperado tour. I like that. So you can buy tickets to see Jason Aldean. And his new song, Try That in a Small Town, is causing all kinds of controversy. He is shocking the world because he's decided to write a song about, number one, self-defense, number two, about what's happening in certain cities in this country. Now, the opening lines of the song go something like this. Now, I have to use substitute language because the censors, the monetary censors, and even the banning type people do not like the G word. The G word, it starts with a G and ends with the letters UN, okay, like United Nations. So it's like the abbreviation for the Great United Nations because they're so great. So here are the lyrics. Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk, carjack an old lady at a red light, pull a G on the owner of a liquor store. Yeah. Think it's cool? Well, act a fool if you like. Cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. Now, I'm one of those people that believes that you've got your First Amendment rights, your Second Amendment rights. If you want to light up a flag, it's protected under the Constitution, and it is a form of speech. I don't like it, and I think a lot of people don't like it, but, this is where we're at nowadays. So those lines, in addition to a few more here, where he talks about how his granddad gave him a G, and they say one day they're going to round up, meaning that they're not going to round up to the nearest decimal. They're going to take them away. Now, that's been really the drumbeat for years and years. Every time there's a tragedy, they blame the G, and they don't blame the person who's operating the G. Same thing like when you turn on the news and they say things like, yeah, SUV runs over people at intersection. Huh? Wasn't there a driver of the SUV? Now, I know there are self-driving cars now, which is really scary, right? Well, they're more safe than human operators, Dave. Well, I don't know. I'd like to be in control of my own destiny. See, for people my age, this is going to be really tough for us to just let go and let technology do its thing. Anyway, I'm getting off point here. So the news will say SUV. Listen to the news and hear them talk about SUVs. That and the fact that, these big SUVs are destroying the planet. They're destroying the world, even though people predominantly, if you go out, you're going to see SUVs everywhere. Our family has 2 of them. So I can tell you, I can tell you we have 2, and we like them because they're just cool vehicles, and the utility aspect is good. Now, a lot of people have G's in their house, and they may have more than 1 G. I don't know. So the song is about self-defense. The song also points out the obvious. There are problems in the inner city, right? And lawlessness has become a way of life in the inner city, and the police are under attack. Now, look, I don't always agree with what the police are doing, and I think we should have the right to kind of look at individual problems, individual people, and get rid of them within the police force if need be. However, as an institution which is supposed to keep law and order, because if there is no law and order, right, then it's anarchy, and then you really need a G at that point if they're going to tell you that the police aren't going to show up. You need a G more than ever. Now, there's this one comment I want to read, and this is on the Jason Aldean controversial video. 45-year-old black dude, U.S. Army veteran, dad of 4, farmer, volunteer firefighter, and a proud American. I approve this message. When you hear from ordinary people who are out there in the world doing what ordinary people do, and they make statements like that, and the media, of course, will ignore that 7 days a week, twice on Sundays, because that goes against the narrative. What? How could you be for what Jason Aldean is saying? Don't you know that he's one of those R words? Again, I'm not sure what the censors will do, but you've got the G word, you've got the R word. Isn't it great that we live in a free country where you can speak freely and say whatever you want? You have to play by the rules. You work for a corporation who is, using all of your material, and they're putting it out there for people to consume. And yeah, I understand that. They have guidelines. They don't want you talking about G's, and they don't like the R word, especially if you're saying that there is no R word here. Jason Aldean is not an R person. What he is a traditional country artist, again, playing mostly modern country rock, and using today's sounds and today's technology to create music that people who really love that genre tend to gravitate toward. I mean, pretty much everything he puts out there goes to #1 or hits the top 10. I spent a lot of time immersed last year in today's country music, and Jason Aldean is on the radio like every 15 minutes. Now, that might not be the case moving forward. This could be the end of Jason Aldean, because he's really stepped in at this time by being a traditional cowboy type guy. Because that's what this is. This is traditional country music. This is outlaw country. This is the kind of stuff, now, not necessarily the song, but the lyrical content. This is the kind of stuff 30, 40, 50 years ago, people would be like, yeah, that's a country song, man. What's up? Why are you so upset? But in America today, you can't be traditional anything. You just can't. As soon as you come out on the side of normalcy and tradition, they try to cancel you. Now, here's what's interesting. So I looked at this song the other day on YouTube. It had, 700,000 views. Now it's got 4.5 million views. Is Jason Aldean bankrolling all of the crazy QAnon conspiracy theorists out there? Maybe. By the way, that's not an endorsement of QAnon. I'm just putting it out there that some people approve of this message. The man I just read the comment about, he approves of this message. In the small town, we take care of one another. the police force is going to show up. And if for some reason they don't get there on time, someone else might show up and do what needs to be done. When did it be cool? When did it become cool for crime, right, to just run rampant? When was that a cool thing? It's never been cool in any society that the criminals just take over society. The inmates running the asylum. Well, welcome to America in the year 2023. For the last 3 years, since that wonderful summer of 2020, where we had the thing-demic and we had rampant, uncontrollable crime in these cities, where I think in one place they had an autonomous zone, which they took over a portion of the city, and it wasn't part of the United States anymore. It was its own little area. It was like a few blocks, and if you went in there, there was no rule of law. There was nothing anybody was doing to stop it. Eventually, it took them a very long time, but eventually they did break up that little piece of paradise, that anarchy that really demonstrated the worst of human nature. And it took so long for them to get rid of that. And here's Jason Aldean coming along and doing a little social commentary. Not even political commentary, just a little bit of social commentary. Again, they don't like where the video was shot because, a mob was there 100 years ago and they did something that was horrific. And believe me, I condemn what those things represent. And we have really, I think, put that behind us for the most part, haven't we? If I say that, people go, nope, it's always going to exist. It's because of you. You don't understand. You've got bias. You've got privilege. Shut up, white guy. Shut up, old guy. All right. Well, Jason Aldean, he's not an old guy. He does share the same melanin content. Actually, I think I have more than he does. So I think I'm kind of in between somewhere, especially in the summertime. So I don't know. This is ridiculous that we don't really believe in what Martin Luther King talked about, where you judge somebody by the content of the character and not the color of their skin. We don't do that. That was like just soaring rhetoric above everything else. And yet today we just ignore that line and just say, no, everything. We judge everything by how much melanin content you have. And so that's ridiculous, because that's not a colorblind society. That's leading us down to a world of segregation again. So just some observations by me. That's what I do. Real Music Observer. And this is real music, by the way. This is definitely real music. So go check out, try that in a small town. I think you'll like the song. And if you don't, I think you'll like the message. And if you don't, then you go ahead and listen to something else, like the Wilder Blue, like modern retro radio. Both great alternatives to this world of hurt, this crazy world, shocking world that Jason Aldean lives in. Nobody else lives there except that firefighter that has the #1 comment on his video right now. Good for him. Good for everybody for at least weighing in on this and watching the video. The video could be the #1 most watched thing of the year, unless it gets pulled down, which apparently Country Music Television has canceled Jason Aldean's song. They are no longer playing it. It's too controversial, which shows you where country music, the mainstream, is today. Very pathetic. All right, I am done. Thanks for watching. God bless you all. And of course, God bless the world, everybody. See you soon.